Hi everyone, today we're doing a gentle chi ball workout. So this is a chi ball, small round ball. If you don't have a chi ball, you could do this with just a cushion. So this is just a small cushion off the outdoor lounge for me. But yeah, just something that's soft. You can pop between your knees and do some things with. The cushion would be fine. Chi ball if you've got it though. Let's go. So to begin with, we're just going to do a couple of stretches. So just keep the chi ball in your hand so it doesn't roll away, and taking our arms out to a T, and we're going to just do our gentle rocks from side to side. So just two each way, nice and slow, going across and holding. Take a breath and then back the other way. So just slowing it right down because we're not doing many of them. Take a breath and then back the other way. Good job. And then just a little butt stretch as well. So that's where we cross the leg over and pull them up towards us. So you're welcome to pull on the top knee or grab the bottom leg, but just feeling that stretch through that sort of hip and buttock area. Hold for a couple of breaths. And the other side. Good job. So taking our chi ball and placing it between our knees. Again, cushion if you don't have a chi ball. So we're just going to do a little set of pelvic tilts and bridges. So just gently arching and then flexing back into the spine. So the idea of this is moving your pelvis and your lower back. You're creating an arch in your lumbar spine and then coming back the other way and pressing your back into the floor. So just softly back and forth for me, slowly. I'll try to talk loudly because again we've been joined by my crows that live in the park. And then from this tilt going into a bridge, so just gently rolling back and squeezing up, push pressure into the ball and then roll back down, release into the arch, take pressure off the ball without dropping it. Squeeze the ball, tilt back, squeeze up into the hips and then roll back down. So we're just doing a slow lift and lower with pressure against the ball, not holding at this stage. So we'll do 5 of these. Squeeze the glutes, pushing into the ball, roll back down, take the pressure off the ball, squeeze the ball, roll and lift. Keep squeezing the ball as you come down and then release the ball once your pelvis is to the ground. And one more, squeeze and lift. And rolling back down. Good job. Now we're going to take our chi ball and place it underneath one of our feet. So take your time just to get the ball under one foot comfortably. So that's just giving us an unstable base. So keeping the foot against the ball, it's the other leg that's going to do our moving. So be aware of neutral spine. So watching that we're sort of keeping that nice gentle curve of the spine. Imagining that little butterfly sitting in that cave of our lumbar area of our back. Keep this leg on the ball nice and still and just very gently taking the other leg to tabletop. Flex your foot for me and we're going to tap our heel up and down 5 times. So we're doing 5 taps. Keep drawing in the tummy muscles, going nice and slow, keeping the foot against the ball nice and steady. As we're moving this leg up and down, try not to wobble the other one around. Keeping it up on the 5th, then I want us to stretch our leg away and move our opposite arm back over our head. So we're going to stretch in and out, doing all of this with a flexed foot 5 times, which means my heel is pushing out rather than my toes. So pushing from your heel. So 5 arm and leg reaches, same thing. Be aware of your butterfly in your cave, watching that the back staying nice and flat to the floor. 1 more, and then we're going to do a second set but with a toe. So keeping the leg in tabletop, pointing the toe, tapping the toe up and down 5 times. Keeping this foot nice and steady on the ball. Thinking about drawing in with our low tummy, keeping our back nice and steady against the floor, and then keeping the point in the toe, reaching the arm and leg out and in 5 times. So muscle-wise, we should feel we're working this muscle up through the front of the leg into the hip. Should feel you're engaging those deep abdominals. 2 more. And 1 more. Well done. Now, of course, we need to repeat that on the other side. So just gently walk your ball over to the other foot. Take a second to get that foot steady against the ball. Relax the shoulders. Think about that neutral spine position, drawing in through the stomach muscles. Gently bring the foot up with the flexed heel and tapping. So tap the heel up and down 5 times. Just starting to work through the muscles in the front of the leg. And then keeping it up with that flexion and extending the arm and opposite leg away 5 times, keeping this one nice and steady in the ball. Keep the flexion, so we're pushing out through the heel and back in. 2 more, and then we repeat with the pointed toe. And 5, good job. Pointing, tapping the toe down and up for me 5 times. So again, start to feel that fatigue through the front of the leg. Think about pulling in your tummy muscles, keeping the point in the toe, stretch the arm and leg out, bring the arm and leg back. Stretch the arm and leg out, bring the arm and leg back. Keep that foot resting on top of the ball, stretch and return, stretch and return. Good job, 1 more for luck, stretch and return. Well done. Now we just want to gently bring our chi ball back to our knees, and we're going to do a repeat. So gentle tilt, so just extending and flexing. So this is where we forget all about that butterfly trapped in the cave. We're letting it fly out by creating that arch, and then we're squashing it by flexing down into the floor. So we'll do 5 little tilts again, getting ourselves steady on the mat with that ball between the knees. And then we're going to bridge again, but this time we're going to bridge and hold and pump the ball while we're in bridge. So 5 pushes in through the ball. So just squeezing tension on, keeping the tension as we bring our pelvis back down into the floor. Release for a rest, squeeze the ball, bridging up into the hips, and 5 pushes. Keep the pressure as you come down into the floor. And release the pressure at the bottom for a little rest. Good job. Squeeze and lift again. 5 pushes at the top. Hold the pressure as you bring your pelvis back down to the floor and release the bridge. Well done. Squeeze and lift. 2 to go. 5 pushes at the top. Doing about 5 of these. Keep the pressure as you come back down into the floor with the spine, but release the pressure on the ball at the base. And last one, squeeze the ball and lift. Use your glutes and pulsing 5 times or pushing 5 times into your ball or cushion. Hold the pressure and then very gently come back down. Well done. Now we're going to keep the ball here between our knees. Take our arms out to the T position for a bit of extra stability through the base. And what I want us to do is very gently draw in through our tummy muscles and take the ball up off the floor. So we're going to lift both of our knees up towards our chest and then bring both of our feet back down. Now doing this with a relaxed foot or with your toes coming in a point is slightly easier than if you were to flex your feet and bring them down so that the heels touch the ground. So if you want to work a little bit harder, focus on the heels. So we come up through the knees and then the heels come back down to the floor. If you want to go a little bit easier, relax those feet and lift up from the toes, keeping them pointed, and then come down and ground for the toes. Now we're doing 5 of these, so 1 more. And coming up and holding them there, bring our arms back into our side. And I just want us to do a gentle overhead arm. So we're just going to move both our arms back and bring both our arms forward while we hold that chi ball in the air. So again, just 5 times. Again, pointing is a little bit easier, flexing is a little bit harder. Have a little squeeze on that ball, but of course try not to bust it. And we're just moving slowly back and forth with our arms. Now again, this range in the arms too is whatever's comfortable. So just lift the fingers to the ceiling if you like. Go right back if you can. And then back down. 1 more with those arms up and down for me. Well done. We're going to repeat the tapping. So bring the feet both back down to the ground. Again, touch the toes first to make it a bit easier. And then lift them back up 5 times. Touch the toes first and lift them back up. If you want to make it a bit harder, flex those feet and touch the heels first. So both heels down, both heels up. Really work on drawing in. So you should actually feel your stomach muscles working as you do this. Yes, there's effort through the front of the legs because they're our moving muscles, but our core is activating as we brace and hold our neutral spine while we take these feet up and down off the ground. So about 5, just gently touching and lifting, and then holding those feet up. And again, this time though, what I want us to do is a circle with our arms. So come back and around to your side. Now again, a small circle is fine. So you can have your circles on the ceiling and going 5 each way, imagining a dinner plate up on the sky and you're just rolling your fingers around the rim of the dinner plate. Or you can go a bit larger, right overhead and back in and around to our side. Keep focusing on the holding of the ball between the knees, so a little pressure into the ball. Think about your stomach muscles. And as I said, once you've done about 5, just going back in the other direction. Flexed feet is a little bit harder. If you want to make it a bit easier, just point out through the toes, relax through the feet. I said in 5 circles each way. Nice big circles if your shoulders will allow, or smaller circles just up at the ceiling if it's a bit more comfortable on the shoulders. And as I said, we're only doing 5 each way. Good job. And then gently bring your arms back to rest and your feet back to rest. Well done. We're going to repeat our tilting and bridging. So just gently rolling back and forth. This releases all that tension out of the hips and the lower back after doing exercises like those knee lifts. So just focus on the pelvis, rocking and rolling forwards and backwards. Whatever range is comfortable. We're arching a big arch into our back and then flexing and pushing harder into the floor. So just 5 times. And then just repeating our bridging. So just a standard bridge again this time. So just lifting and rolling back down into the ground. And we want to think about squeezing the ball as we come up, squeezing our glutes, and then keep the squeeze on the ball as we roll down. Have a little rest of tension against the ball at the base, but then squeeze and lift up again and roll back down. 2 to go. Squeeze and lift up. Roll back down. And 1 more, squeeze and lift up. Good job. And roll back down. Well done. Now, the next one we're going to take our chi ball and actually rest it onto our stomach, or our pillow on our stomach. Now, some of you, your chi balls might be a lot firmer, in which case it's okay to just keep your fingertips lightly touching the ball. But if you can manage to not hold onto the ball for this exercise, it is all about controlling the ball. So what we're going to do is keep one leg still and rotate the other one out to the side. Now, as that happens, I'm drawing in with my stomach muscles. I'm thinking about staying level across my pelvis. So if I was to turn my knee out and roll my body, of course my whole side would roll and my whole ball would roll to the side as well. So the goal is to move the knee gently out and in, keeping our ball balanced. So we think about drawing in the stomach muscles. We're just going to do 5 of these on each side, if I can get my ball to balance again. 5 of these on each side. As I said, lightly touching the ball or having your hands near the ball if you feel you need to. But it's really a control exercise. So we're really focusing on the pressure of our pelvis, imagining it's like a builder's level from the left to the right hip. And as we turn our knee out and in, we're trying not to tilt or tip the level. And then of course we've got 2 sides, so gently taking the ball on the tummy still and the knee moving to the side. You might find you're better at one side than the other with this. Think about drawing in your tummy. It doesn't matter if you don't move very fast. If you only go a couple of degrees out and in, that's great. Something's better than nothing. If you can really manage to push hard and get that knee nice and wide and draw it back in. As I said, we're using our muscles through our hips and thigh, but I'm working really hard on holding my transversus on and being very conscious of my stability of my pelvis. 1 more for luck. Good job. Now for the last couple of exercises, we're going to lay on our sides. So just take your time to roll over, get a bit more pillow if you think you need it, or have a bit more pillow at the ready. What I want us to do is actually put our chi ball behind our knee. So if you place it behind the knee and then bend the knee, that will help to keep it in place. And we're going to do our clamming. So get comfortable from the upper body, take the feet together, get that ball tucked in or held in behind the knee. And all we're going to do is clam with that ball there behind our leg. So just turning up and down. So as we do our clam, we think about keeping our hips stacked, so one hip stays on top of the other. We just turn up and down as far as is comfortable. We should feel it working sort of up through the top of the thigh and into this back of the buttock area, sort of where my hand is. If you're feeling it pulling a bit harder through the front of the leg, just take your feet back a bit more so your knees aren't as tucked up, and that should change it to working more through the glute. And also be aware that you're not leaning backwards. So if we have our hips stacked on top of each other, we do a much better job of keeping the work in the glute. If we're rolling our hip back and forward as we clam, it tends to come more frontal. So we want to do about 20 of these. Again, whatever's comfortable through the neck and shoulder. Holding that ball behind your leg should just make this feel a bit harder than a normal clam. Five more. Good job. 2 and 1. Well done. Then before we change sides, we're also going to do an exercise with our bottom leg resting against the ball. So place the ball down onto the ground, stretch that bottom leg out nice and straight, and the top leg as well. So again, we're just creating some instability, and what I want us to do is a set of our leg lifts. So lifting the top leg up and down slowly, keeping the ball under the bottom leg. So point your toes for this one. Take this hand and place it on the ground for a bit of extra stability. Again, think about keeping the hips stacked as we do this. So watching that we don't roll back and forth or wiggle around too much. We're trying to keep that bottom leg nice and straight and steady as we do our 20 lifts up. Keeping a point in our toe. And again, hand to the ground here just for a bit of extra balance. And upper body wise, you can prop up like I am, or you can sort of lay yourself flatter down with a bit more pillow if you like. How high you lift is totally up to you. They can just be little tiny lifts up and down, showing me that you've got good balance, or you can really try to come right up and down into the air, but watch that we stay stable through that bottom leg and through our pelvis as we come into that higher lift. And again, around 20, 5 more. Good job. Pointing those toes. And well done. Now, of course, we need to change sides. So you're free to roll over. I will just change ends. So the first one we did was clam with the ball behind the knee. So put the ball behind the leg and fold it in to hold it. Come down so you're resting comfortably into the pillow or the floor or your shoulder. Once the hips feel like they're stacked on top of each other, we're just turning up through that top knee, keeping our ankles together, feeling the work up through the hip. Yep, so where my hand is. A little bit through the top of the thigh, but mostly trying to feel like as we turn our knee up, we get activation through these hip muscles. Keeping those hips stacked one on top of the other, watching that as we turn our knee up, we don't roll forward and back. And again, little movement is fine, tiny lifts are okay. Really want to push them higher, you can, but watching that you're staying stable in your pelvis as you do. So around 20 repetitions. Good job. 5 more. And then taking our ball to place it under the bottom foot. So just putting it onto the ground, taking that bottom leg onto the ball. Again, come back and get yourself comfortable with your upper body. Really stretch that bottom leg out nice and straight, point the toes, and start to do our lift up and down with that top leg. So as we're lifting the leg up and down, we keep pointing our feet. We try to stay nice and steady with that base leg, keeping our hips stacked one on top of the other. Again, little lifts are fine. Big lifts if you feel like you can control that base leg and the stability of the ball and the hips. Well done. And again, around 20 repetitions. Good job, everybody. 5 more. 3, 2, 1, and well done. So just to finish, I want us to just do a repeat of our start stretches. So if we just take ourselves back over to our back again, pop our arms out to T, and just very gently have a little roll from side to side. So we're just going to do 3 each way. I hope you've enjoyed your gentle chi ball workout. The idea of this is to, again, get you thinking about that lumbar neutral and drawing in through those deep abdominal muscles. Not too strenuous. Doing a nice little workout just through the glutes and the thighs. But more so the idea of the concept of that deep muscle control. So 3 each way. Nice and slow. And then just again, crossing the legs over and pulling it up towards you for a stretch. So just to feel a bit of a stretch into that hip. Again, you're welcome to hold the top knee or grabbing that bottom leg. Just holding for a few breaths. And then the same on the other side. Well done. Good work, everybody.
Hope this finds you all well. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.